In this short tutorial, we are going to go over how to use your website editor, as well as how to access it, of course. So once in your CRM system, you're going to go over to your menu and go to the websites option. From here, simply click on the URL for your website. This is going to direct you into our legacy CRM system where your editor is actually hosted. So it's not in that system, it's an alternate system. This is going to bring you to a page that looks similar to like this. This is the first part of the editor. What you're going to want to do is click on the Use in Website Editor button. From time to time, you will be toggling between both options. Really just depends on what you're trying to accomplish. Let's go into the website. You'll know that you're in the editor when you locate these little black boxes on the right-hand side. Now for some of you, they may not be visible on the home page, but simply go into one of the inner pages and you should be able to spot them. The top option here is simply allowing you to adjust the color schemes or a layout if you're on one of our basic sites. So for example, if you want to change the color in the top bar background, simply click on the color code there. You're going to see that we've got this color selected. So if you're ever changing the color, what you're going to want to do is move the little dialer thing around here, push preview to see that. You're going to see that it's changed here, and then go change and save that. So you're going to want to make sure that you're saving those changes every time. So that's how you would adjust the colors. And of course you have the ability to adjust colors, whether it is the top bar, the links, things like that. So do play around with it. There is some areas where there's content, so different things like that. And these are like little buttons, what the colors of your buttons are going to be. And then of course the footer, what color those are going to be. So you can really customize and use very specific color codes to modify your website. Now the middle option here is your content editor. So when you select this option here, you're going to notice that there's little boxes everywhere, the text boxes. So if we go, for example, to your About page, these little text boxes are appearing. Now, what you're going to do is just simply click inside that text box and you can write whatever you want. One thing to be very cautious of is you cannot navigate away from this page until you've saved it. Otherwise, any information you've added will be lost. So for example, to save that work, you're going to want to click outside of the text box so that the save prompt appears and then go OK. So for example here, if I was to go on here and type another thing without saving it, and let's say I wanted to go back here, when I go back to the page, that information I've added has now disappeared. So always as a rule of thumb, every so often just prompt to save so that way none of your work or efforts are lost. When you are adding text, you do have the ability to use shortcodes. So if you need to add some script to get different things to produce, you also have the ability of embedding different things. So whether it's a YouTube video or video from Facebook, things like that, you would do that through a source code. And once you've added any source code in, you would just save it. You would still then want to save it after you've added that. Now also you have the ability to add hyperlinks. So a hyperlink will link text to an alternate source, whether it's within your website, a different page, or perhaps you're directing them somewhere externally. So again, highlight the text, and what you're going to do is click on the little chain link here. By doing that, you're going to put a URL in here. So let's just pretend we're going to Facebook. You also are going to want to adjust the target. So you don't want this page to disappear and the visitor go to Facebook instead. You would want a different tab to open up in their browser. So you're going to change that target to new window and go OK. Again, once you've made those changes, click outside the box to prompt that save. Now to see this in work, you're going to do is just turn off the content editor here. You can see now that it turns into a hand, indicating that I can click this text. So when I click on this text, you can see that the new tab opened and it opened up Facebook. So there's a lot of different things that you can do with your content editor, as well as such as uploading images. So you do have that ability to upload images from your website. You can change the formatting, add headers, you can add containers, all the things like that, so you can make a really nice presentable page with content for your visitors. Now down at the bottom here, what we have is our widget editor. So this one here, when you click on it, you notice that there's little widgets. Now the about settings, let's just go into that one here. So when you go into any of the widgets, you're going to notice that there is the option to have it as a global widget or just for this page. So a global widget would mean that if I make changes to this widget right now, those changes are going to reflect on all of the pages. Whereas if I change this to a just for this page, the changes will only reflect specifically on this page. So if I wanted my picture on the about page to be different than all of the other pages, I can definitely do so. So let me just choose this alternate picture, and then we're going to save it. So this change then is only on this page. So if we go back and let's say we go to the contact page, you can see that the about widget is still using that previous photo versus the new one we just uploaded. So if you're ever uncertain about how to use a widget, you're going to contact support. We can definitely help you with that. Now, one of the greatest things that you can do for your website is adding content. Content on a regular basis. That's content on a regular basis, which is related to what your page has to offer, will increase your SEO rankings over time. So Google is always looking for websites that is posting current and regular updates. They're not going to promote a website that has stale information nonetheless. So one of the ways you can do this is by blogging. So blogging on your website, you just simply go onto your blog page here, and at the bottom you'll see that you have a few options. You can adjust the blog page settings, add a new category, so if you want to have multiple blank categories, you can do that, as well as you have that option to add a new blog post. So to add a new blog post, just simply click on that option there. You do have the option of scheduling a post, so if you don't want it to go up right away, you can schedule when it will appear on your website. You're going to give that blog post a title, so that's going to go Hey Title. Now you do have an author as well, so you can, if you didn't write this article and somebody else provided it for you, you can obviously put the name of the author on there and change that. You're then going to have tags, so blog tags. So these are keywords essentially that are going to allow individuals, whether they're on your website or they're searching on Google, be able to locate the content. So what does this have to do with? So I'm just going to use Hey as one of the tags. Obviously nothing related to real estate, but just throwing that in there because it is a required option. Now here you do have the ability, so if you had created additional blog categories, you can select which category that blog is going to go into. Once you've added all the information here, you're simply going to go add blog post and edit. So here we are able to see the title and the tags, but obviously we can't type anything yet. So again, going back to your content editor to be able to add that content. So you will have the ability to add a featured image to your blog post. So if you needed to add something in there that's related to your blog post, you have that ability to do so. And of course, you can add any content similar as how you would do it in the past as well. So you have the ability to hyperlink, which is encouraged. Google loves hyperlinking, adding images and content related to what that article is about. And again, once you've made any changes, you can simply turn off the blog, the content editor, to be able to see any of those changes that you've made. Your blog post will show up here, of course, with the images that you've added as well. Now, one of the other ways that you can increase your SEO is by meta tags and descriptions. So if we go into any page on your website, let's just go into the About page here. At the bottom, you have page settings. So if we click on page settings here, you're going to see that you can have different images, and that's just an image that would show up if you were to share this page. You can change the name and the title, things like that. If you wanted to hide this page from the public so it's only visible to you and the editor or only available to somebody that has a link to it, you can do that. You can also link to a different URL, so if someone goes and clicks on the About page, instead of going in here, it goes and brings them somewhere else. And then this is where you would add your meta keywords and descriptions. So whenever you're doing a Google search, you'll notice that keywords are highlighted that you've used to find whatever it is that you're looking for. So that's what your meta keywords are. So telling the Google and those looking what keywords can be used to find what's on this page or what would be related to what's on this page. The meta description would be a description of that. So a little short paragraph using as many keywords as you can to show that little write-up on Google as to what exactly this page consists of that would match what that person is actually searching for in Google. So these are different things that you can do. Now, one of the things that we do suggest is don't do this all at once. You're going to want to add content and meta tags and descriptions gradually. So Google will recognize if you do a dump of information, that's a one-time addition of information on your website. So if you're able to do it gradually, so whether you're doing it weekly or every few days or adding information, that's going to prove and show better results for you over time. So that's essentially how you would go about using the editor from this side of the editor. Now again, remember how we opened it up in two spots. We're going to go back to this main screen. So this main screen is going to give you all your pages, gives you the ability to manage MLS listings, as well as it has some different options as far as settings on this side here. So let's do the pages. Let's say you wanted to add a new page. So to add a new page, what you can do is just simply click on any page that's within the left-hand column here, and you're going to create a subpage. So a subpage would normally put a page under this page. So we can see that there's new page here. And so if I wanted to add a subpage, and I'll show you what that looks like. So test subpage. And then the title is what shows up on your browser. So set test subpage. And then you can choose what type of page this is. So whether it is a community page, let's say, another is just like your standard type of page. Maybe you want something that's completely blank. There's no menu, there's no nothing. So you do have some choices, and you can change the page type as you're editing the site. Now, do keep in mind, once you've added content to a page, if you change the page type, sometimes that content does not move over, so make sure you copy that content before doing so. But let's just use another page type. So once you've created this subpage, we're going to go save. Once doing that, we can see that we're now on the new page, and then we're actually in the test subpage area. And if we go back to the website, I'm just going to refresh it here. Under the new page, we can see that there's now been this page added underneath. So that subpage has been created. So to change and edit this site page, essentially, you're going to click on Settings. Keep in mind that you cannot add content through this section here, just so you are aware. So you do have your settings here, so you can choose to hide it right from this end of the editor. You can adjust the page names. And then this is where the parent category is. So right now we have it as a parent category is under new page because it is a subpage. If we wanted this page to be a main menu item, we would select no parent. And so instead of showing up under, it'll actually show up next to it. Now here you do have, you can link to all this information, you can put your meta description, you can put your keywords in here, and of course you can change the template of that page as well. So as you're playing around with it, and I'll show you what that looks like. So I'm going to save this with essentially it as a no parent, just so you can see. So when we move this over and I hit refresh, you're going to notice that it goes, we have a test subpage now next to the new page. Now you do have the ability to change the sort order of all your pages. And how you would do that is by the menu position. Okay, so you would kind of pick which menu option you want to be on the furthest left and what you would want to be on the furthest right. So I'm just going to change this to a 9 to just show you, and I'm just going to save it. But in hindsight, on your website, the furthest to the left is the 0. So this would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. So if I was to refresh this page now, because I changed that number, we can see that this test subpage went from this side of that page to this side of this page. So we moved it to the end of that list. Again, if you have any struggles with this, just reach out to support. Our team would be more than happy to assist you. So that's your page section here. Now again, if I wanted to look at this test subpage, and I can see that it's an about page, so it's just a page where I can add content right here. So if I turn that content editor on, you can see that, as well as all your information on the right-hand side. Now, if you wanted to change this page type, we would just go to the template theme, And let's say I wanted to create it as a page that is a page with a form. So we're going to change that there and save it. And if we go back to this test subpage and refresh it, you're going to notice that now there is a form on the right-hand side instead of our contact information. So this again would allow you to add content here with a form for somebody to fill out information, depending on what you're offering on that page. Now on this side here of your editor, you also have your Manage MLS Listings section. So this is where you would go if you want to add exclusive listings, add pre-constructions, if you want to update your MLS listings, and so on. So in this top section here, if you wish to showcase maybe somebody from out of area, you're dual listed a property, but it's not showing up as you as the main agent, for example, you can manage this. So you would put the MLS number in there for that listing, and it would show up in your featured listings as if it's your featured listing. You do have the ability to update the MLS values on your existing listings as well. So this would be if you wanted to add more photos, let's say, or add some virtual tours or whatever it may be, you can edit an existing MLS. So what you would do is make sure that you grab that MLS number prior to doing so, and you would start a new MLS property update. So when you do that, we're just going to click and put that MLS number right in here. You can give your listing a custom title. If you want to override, standardly the title would actually be the address of the property. You can throw in virtual tour URLs, inspections, and so on. So you can definitely do that. For this, you can choose if you're going to showcase this on the home page. You, of course, can add a custom description as well. So you can actually do this for any listing you have. It doesn't necessarily have to be your listing. These changes will only reflect on your website itself. So again, anytime you make changes here, it will override the existing data. So if you wanted to add information to that existing description, you would copy that existing description first, paste it in here, then add to it or modify or link or whatever. So what's great here is that you can actually, through source code, embed a virtual tour. So if you have it on YouTube or what have you, you can embed it so that it's right in the description. Someone can just watch it, play it, that sort of thing. You can even add images if you really wanted to in that description. Now, once you've added all the information here, you're going to click on the Add MLS Listings Update. Now, what you're also going to want to do is upload photos. So same thing with photos. If you only wanted to add, let's say, an extra 3 photos that you didn't have on MLS to this, you would add all of the photos again. Because if you just add the 3 photos, those are the only 3. Because again, anytime you add information, it overrides that existing information. So we have to add all of it plus what we're adding in addition. So there will be a file when you're uploading. You will notice that there will be some that are, and I can see there's a file size restriction. So if we try to upload some images, just so you guys are aware, you may need to resize them. And again, same idea where you can adjust the sort order. So if you have multiple images, you can change which order they're going in. And then again, once you've added all your photos, what you're going to want to do is update the MLS values on that listing. Now, if we go into this actual listing here, we would be able to see on the website that these changes are reflected, but only on this specific website. So I want to close that. Now, if we go, let's go here. Now, let's say we wanted to add an exclusive listing. It's essentially the same as adding an MLS listing. You're adding in all the information about that property. You can choose, the active. Is it active? Is it sold? Is it conditional? Do you want it displayed on the website? Do you want it featured on the home page? Is it exclusive? Yes or no? Sometimes it's not exclusive. It's just a listing you're having to manually add in. You will have the description, of course. So same idea. You would add the exclusive listings. The option to upload photos will appear. Same thing. You save it. You're done. It's going to show up on your website. You do have the option as well. So when you're creating pages, you can actually create a page that's just specifically for exclusive listings as well, just so you guys are aware. You do have the ability as well to add pre-construction properties. So adding a pre-construction property, again, is all just data information that you're getting. You do have the VIP pricing section if you have that as an option, depending on the development, as well as the description. Now up here, what you'll notice is you have the ability to include forced registration. So you can go yes or no. So what this does is it'll force a visitor that's trying to look at that information. If they want the floor plans, they have to register. Once they register, if you have those floor plans uploaded, they just automatically appear, so they become unhidden. If you don't have that information, I don't suggest getting people to register for some of that, just simply because you can get, a lot of people angry. I just, signed up for the floor plans and now I didn't even get them. So always be careful with that. And then once you upload the property pre-construction, then again, you're going to be having that ability to upload those floor plans, upload images, and things such as that. Again, when you're creating a page within your website, you have the option of adding a pre-construction page. So when you have that pre-construction page, I'll show you here, you will be able to see all the pre-constructions that you've added in. Okay, so that's kind of where that would go. So those are a couple things. If you do have active listings, you will have the ability to edit active listings. So active listings, you can change the price right away. So if, let's say, and these are only for your listings. So let's say you just, got confirmation and the signatures, what have you, that you've done a price reduction. If you want that new price reflected on your website immediately, you can update it here. That way you can start sharing off that new cost all over social media, or sharing with those who may be interested. You will also be able to do the same with your sold listings. Do keep in mind that the sold listings are sometimes based on deactivation. So sometimes they're a cancel relist. They didn't actually sell, so you do have that ability to delete the one if you wanted to delete that as a sold listing, so it's not showing as a sold listing on your website. Now on the left-hand side here, you have your global values. So you do have the ability to go in and edit your landing pages. And so once you go in here, this is for your home work and your street match, so you do have that ability to edit those there. You will have the ability as well. So global content is really for people that have script. So most of you won't need this, but if you ever need to add any script, you can do this. Again, support is more than happy to do this for you, so that way that there's no errors. So the global settings portion here, this is where you're going to be able to edit your contact information. So if you needed to make any changes to your designation, or you have a different email or phone number, you'll also be able to update your brokerage information should you happen to change brokerages. Now this is also where you would add any links to your social profiles that would be included in your profile. You do have that ability to add a Facebook chat. You would put your business page URL for that chat. Do note this is not a profile. You have to have a business page for the Facebook chat. If you wanted to show monthly mortgage payments on the listings, you do have the ability to do so you can change the rates of that. You also have the little pop-up messages. So when somebody registers or completes a contact form, for example, you can change what that message says when they fill that out. So those are just some of the things that you can do. A lot of these, go through them, see what they are. But a lot of these things you don't really need to adjust, but it's entirely up to you if you do. Now, again, on any of these pages, you're just going to want to make sure that you're clicking save to save anything that you've been doing. Now, the lead gen options, if you guys are running lead generation with us, this will not be an option for you guys to play around with, but you can play around with it generally if you're not having any lead generating services with us. So we've kind of removed that for that just because of the way we used to do things, but we would also find that some of our clients were turning off forced registration and then wondering why they weren't getting any leads. But typically this is where you would see your ability so you can increase the amount of listings somebody looks at before they're forced to register, or if you wanted to turn it off simply, that's entirely up to you, but that will be there. If you're seeing a screen like this, support will be able to assist you with any of those forced registration rules. Now you will have the ability to use embedded options, so this would be using the source code in that editor. If you wanted to add searches, things like that to a specific page, you have that ability to do so. Website forms, for many of you, this is way over our heads. So this is something that 100%, if you want a custom form on your website, support can definitely do that. You can essentially add all this into a website, into that source code area, and it will produce a form. It's just, you know, for some of you, you may be more technically inclined to figure out how to do this. For others, just reach out to support. They'd be happy to help you. They can do it easy peasy for you. Now, you will have the ability as well for incoming leads. So this is if you're running different pages and things like that. You would be able to assign a lead to an agent based on their agent ID. So let's say, for example, you have your home earth page, but one of your agents is running a campaign with that home earth page. So you want them to get the leads for their efforts. You have that ability to do so based on following a few steps. Again, this can be tricky for many of you, so just reach out to support. They'd be happy to help you. And basically what that would do is we would just update the URL so that that person, when they're sharing the link, will get the leads that register because the link has been changed, the source of it, and we've indicated that that person is the only one that gets the leads from that specific source and that specific URL. So again, something that support can definitely help you out with. So that really summarizes your basic use of using the editor, so adding content and things like that. There's definitely a lot that you can do, whether you're wanting to add community pages and so on and so forth, but do play around with it. Again, if you need specific tutorials on adding certain things, always look to the Zendesk or reach out to support@agentlocator.ca.